Hi, welcome to Elizabeth's Kind Cafe. I'm Elizabeth Katzman, and I am joined today by Heather Carmona. Heather is the founder of PureAlternatives.net. Heather, thanks for being with us today.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
You're welcome. So let's talk a little bit about how you started PureAlternatives.net.
Well, it actually was sort of an organic beginning. I didn't seek out to really start a company and a venture, but I've always been concerned really about health, and I've always struggled as a young adult and even in high school with allergies and difficulty with eczema and things like that with my skin. And I think after I became a parent, I have a 2-year-old daughter, things changed a little too, but it really evolved from me realizing, I had a girlfriend of mine saying, I bought this new natural product, it was a lotion, and it's all natural, I know you'd love it. And I remember looking at the product and turning it over and looking at this lengthy ingredients list that was about 50 different, and thought, wow, how can this be natural? So I just started kind of reading and researching, and like anything, you get on the internet and it becomes this unlimited, I was up till 2 o'clock in the morning when just researching, and I just got so interested in learning about really labeling and manufacturing, and what you see on products is not often what you get. And I just started doing a lot of research, and the more I learned, the more I started sharing it with friends, and all my friends were saying, oh my God, you've got to share that with people, that's amazing. Or I'd say, don't buy that product because it has this ingredient and this ingredient. So I was learning a lot about the epidemic with cancer and with women and your hormones and really the proliferation of disease. And I'm really convinced that a lot of what's happening in our bodies is a result of not only food, but topically what we're putting on it. So all the chemicals that are in lotions and shampoo and all that stuff. So
because it's the same as eating it, really. I mean, it goes through your pores and into your body, the same as if you put it in your mouth.
Right, your skin is the second biggest organ. It's just absorbing it, so it's going right into your bloodstream. You are metabolizing it. And think about it. You put lotion on every day after you get out of the shower. You're using, you're repeating and you're creating that exposure all the time. So I was really concerned about that and my health, and so I started seeking out natural products, really natural, really, and not just natural but organic. And I realized I couldn't find anything. Everything has a chemical preservative in it, and that's because in our market you have to put it on a shelf in a store, and it has to sit on the shelf for 6 months.
Exactly.
So aside from actually creating a product line myself, which I thought about, in manufacturing my own products and making my own, I thought, what's the next best alternative? So the education component was really starting the company Pure Alternatives to really educate. I didn't have an intent to sell products and really. But
so when you launched the website, it was more informational, like it was educational. What ingredients to avoid in products, sort of a consumer guide.
Right, and I started again, I kind of had like these little home parties with my friends, and I just started putting stuff online, and the next thing I knew, people were emailing me all the time, and I thought, is there a way I can make a business out of this? In consulting and go into people's homes and detox their homes. So I started kind of doing that a little bit as I'd go in and go into your medicine cabinet and say, stop using this, and this is a better alternative. But again, the more I was asked about what are safer alternatives, I was having a hard time finding.
Or you had to find a product to recommend.
People were saying, well, what do you recommend? And I was caught with, well, I'm not sure.
And so what did you find?
Well, I was hoping to find a company that was more local, but I stumbled across a company out of Australia that creates an all-organic, certified organic product line called My Essence. And very pure. They're certified to organic food grade standards, which means some of their products you can actually eat because they're so pure, and they have expiration dates. So it clearly says if you don't use the shampoo by XYZ date, it's going to expire. And you can tell, because you can tell like an oil, and you can tell when it starts to kind of turn a little bit. So my skin has been better too. I don't use as much product because I'm not drying out my skin, and that's a lot of it too, is there's so much of the heavy abrasive cleansers in a lot of these products that it makes you then put more lotion on.
Exactly.
It's the cycle, and that's what the companies want you to. They want to create that cycle.
Exactly. So you need more of their product.
Right.
So now on the site you have not only information, but you also have Pure Alternatives. You have products that people can buy and feel comfortable with and know that they're safe. They're certified organic, and they don't just say natural, which is What does that even mean? If I saw a moisturizer on the shelf and it said all natural?
Yeah, natural, and I teach this in my classes about what label reading, and labels are getting more stringent now. There's a lot of consumer groups that are pushing for more marketing or more regulation with labeling, but right now it's very open. And essentially it means you can have lavender oil in a lotion and it comes from a natural source and be able to put natural on the label. And there could be 50 other chemical ingredients in that product, but because there's a natural ingredient in it, you can put natural. So there isn't any regulation for really natural right now. Organic's a little bit different. Organic is, if it says organic, 75% of the ingredients have to be organic.
Okay.
If it says certified organic, 95% do. And the interesting thing about, and typically that's the food grade. When you get up to that element, it becomes almost a food because it's so pure. You're using almost raw ingredients. You can eat it. So there's a handful of the My Essence products that are certified. The bulk of them are just organic.
So that's what we should be looking for.
That's what you can be looking for. It's hard though, because again, in why you have to go through like a distributor to purchase it is you can't have. It's very hard to find a certified organic beauty product to sit on the shelf in a grocery store.
Right.
Because it's going to sit there unless there's, so you find them more in independent boutiques or different independent distributors and like Well,
I think this is a very confusing market for most people. There are just so many different ingredients that we should be avoiding, so many that we should be looking for. And you said that you do classes. Where could someone find your classes?
Well, I've taught them at community centers. The Birmingham Community House, I've had a couple classes. I don't have one coming up right now, but on my website in the fall I probably will.
But if someone was looking for a class, could
they could go on our website and see my schedule there. And my typical class is how to read a label. I do a class on what are all these logos and what does it mean? And when I go to the grocery store, what does this mean or what does that mean?
Yeah.
So I do touch on a little bit of food as much. Again, my focus has been more skincare and the topical and even some cleaning products. But I do touch on food too. A little bit. And I'm not a nutritionist. I don't pretend like I know. I mean, I learn from people in the classes too. And so all my research has just been research that I've found.
Right.
But I've also realized just how, again, unregulated everything is. And that's what's kind of scary is that you think something's in the market, oh, it means it's safe. Well, no.
Right. That's just because the label is green with a picture of a tree. It's very deceiving.
Right.
And do you still do the consulting as well? Do you still come into people's homes or businesses?
I do a little bit. Yeah, a little bit when people ask and see. I think now what's happened is the information is they pass it on to somebody else, so I can easily, and my intent is not to really, it is a company, so I want to make money a little bit, but I just, I find that naturally I just share information with people.
When people just share it with other people.
Right, and I can't stop people from sharing what they learn with somebody else or resell, Right.
But it's such a great service because this is a confusing area that everybody wants to know about and everyone wants to make the right choices. It's just hard to know what the right choices are.
And I have a lot of info on my website where people can kind of print things. I have a little postcard that you can print and bring to the grocery store with you so that you know where, you can kind of look and say, I don't remember all the ingredients. Well, then you can list it and kind of look at, when you're shopping. And
I copied it from your website and then I emailed it to myself, so I have it on my phone. I pop it up when I'm shopping.
Yeah,
and I look at
and I should make it smartphone friendly now.
That would be great.
Right.
And then you also were recognized by Cranes for the 40 under 40 in 2008, and that was for your other job,
not my hobby, right?
Which is working for a nonprofit, and you've been there for 12 years.
Right.
And what do you do? What is the name of the organization?
I head up an association called the Woodward Avenue Action Association. In fact, the Birmingham's a member, Bloomfield Township's involved with our association too. And it's a business and community development organization to improve Woodward Avenue. So land use planning and physical improvements and beautification and tree plantings and all that stuff. So that was kind of my forte and why I'm comfortable working with a lot of city departments and elected bodies and realizing that change often happens when you work through a process with elected officials and communities.
Working together.
Yeah. So I like working at the grassroots level too. I feel like sometimes you can have a lot more impact and effect on things.
Well, you just started a very popular grassroots organization, the No Spray Birmingham. And what led you to start No Spray Birmingham?
Well, it's a campaign for really the focus is to work with the city of Birmingham to get them to stop spraying pesticides in city parks. And it was just kind of an aha moment. Again, it wasn't like I set out to say, I'm going to do this.
Yeah.
It was, I have a 2-year-old daughter, as I said, and we go to the parks frequently, and I was walking one day and I just kept walking past the little white signs, that said they're spraying, and I thought, well, okay, everyone can do what they want. That's private, that's their lawn, and we don't use pesticides or anything on our lawn. And then I got to Booth Park, which is the park we go to all the time.
Yeah.
And there were a couple signs there that they had just sprayed, and the sign clearly says, everyone knows the little sign, it has a little pet and a little person on it, and it says,
no
dogs and children stay off. And I'm thinking,
it's a park.
How can dogs and kids stay off the park? And Hope's already running on the grass, and I was like, no.
I know, it's always too late by the time you see them.
And I just thought, okay, this is it. This has got to, I don't want to expose her to this, and I don't know at what level they were spraying.
Right.
So I started, the campaign was really to just start educating myself about what they were doing. So I met with City Commissioner, I met with the Director of the Parks and Recreation Department, and they were great. And they essentially said, this is our policies, this is what we do, which wasn't as bad as I thought, which is wonderful. They don't really blanket spray. But they said, what would you recommend and what would you like to see? So I made some suggestions, and they've asked me to include language in their master plan, which is, they're going through that right now, and they'll have it adopted sometime in August of
That's
this year.
amazing. It's such a short period of time.
Yeah.
But your experience through the other nonprofit that you're involved in, I
think
gave
it
you a
helped
great
with
background.
it's relationships too, and kind of saying, I don't want to attack the city. It's not as if this is what the city's doing wrong.
Right.
And, I think I approached them as being a partner and saying, I'm willing to help you. And they said, well, sure, here you go. And do.
I mean, especially Booth Park is right next to the river, so it rains and all this stuff goes into the river. And yeah, I remember the same thing happened to me when my 2-year-old was just a baby. And I guess he was 3 at the time, my older one was 3, playing at the park, and I put a blanket down, put the baby on the blanket, and I was sitting there, and the signs, I guess, blew away, fell down, kids picked him up, whatever happened. I didn't see any of them. There was one far off in the distance, and I thought, oh my gosh, is this really what's going on here? And I looked over, sure enough, they had sprayed. And at that time, I already put my baby on the ground.
Right.
My toddler's already, running all over the place, and it was too late, and it made no sense to me.
Well, and again, a lot of the research is that our kids, there's such a proliferation of illness in children, and what it is they're calling it the body burden, is that we're predisposing our kids to so much chemicals, so much younger.
Early, yes.
So they have this buildup of toxic chemicals in their body by the time they're 5, 6, and 7, which is creating disease.
Because their bodies can't handle it
Yeah,
anymore.
they can't metabolize it. They don't have the fat in their body that, that they're able to kind of, and they're still growing.
Right, they're born with over 200 chemicals as infants. Just day one in the hospital, they've already got over.
Right,
and
right.
Then all of the vaccines, not that I'm saying yes or no to vaccines, I'm just saying it's
but
just another
the load,
one.
you're constantly loading up their bodies
up.
so young.
Exactly.
And that's, that's not good. So, and there's things that we can limit. I think what you do what you can control, and that's my, there's certain things you can't control. You have to live life. I'm not,
Right. Right, you can't be crazy about everything. It's
but I think what you can control, and in the interest of just having some dandelions, I think is just ridiculous, I know.
So and we just we mow the lawn and that's it. And do the dandelions
keep
come up?
cutting them off,
Yes.
right.
But the kids go, who can pick more?
Right.
Make it a contest, do whatever. It doesn't matter. I mean, they grow and then you cut your lawn again.
Right.
It's just not worth it. And for dogs too. I mean, we love our dog and.
Dogs are probably, it's even, dogs are actually down there eating. They're, where your children are, unless they're eating the grass, they're still, young kids are hands with the mouse, but a dog is going like sniffing the grass, and they're probably getting more of a concentration of, depending on how soon they sprayed, they're probably getting more concentrated because they're right there.
Right.
Not to mention their paws are in the house. You can take your shoes off, but your dogs are kind of running around. So who knows where you're tracing that residue throughout your home.
Exactly. It's on the floor, then it goes up into the air. Exactly. Yeah. So how can people join the campaign?
Well, I'm on Facebook. I started the Facebook page. The page is No Spray Birmingham.
Okay.
There's about 60 followers now, so you just go to the page, like it, and my hope is, again, with the City Commission, that I can show support, that there's people. I'm not just one crazy resident that wants to stop this, that there's support in the community. And I have signs too. People can, email me through my website or
And get a sign for their lawn.
yeah, Heather at purealternatives.net, and I can drop a sign off at their home.
And can they get through the Facebook page through purealternatives.net
Yes,
also?
yes. If they go to purealternatives.net, I have a little link to the No Spray Birmingham. But Facebook users know that you can just go right to No Spray Birmingham. So I'm trying to link them as easily as possible. I'm not that savvy.
And I also wanted to, before we wrap it up, I wanted to touch a little bit more specifically on the products you have. Are they beauty products only, or home cleaning products also?
Their primary is skincare. So it's skincare, shampoo, lotions, topical products. There's a mineral makeup line too, some things that are really nice. Toothpaste, so mostly personal care products.
Do you have deodorant?
There is deodorant.
I'm always looking for a good natural
Yeah, but it's not a
deodorant.
natural. It's not antiperspirant though. That's what people don't realize. It doesn't keep you from sweating because the only thing that can stop you from sweating is the antiperspirant. But it is a natural. We have natural deodorant. And then there's a couple cleaning products. It's not a very expansive line. There's some essential oils. Like that. So it's very specific and very targeted to. You can't get everything. But the basics, the things that you use
the
every
ones
day.
You put constantly on.
Right.
Yeah.
Right, I think lotion, skincare, toothpaste. The toothpaste is really unique. It's an interesting product. A lot of people either love it or hate it. But once you start using them, you're addicted, and you won't go back. You'll use like a regular soap, or you'll use something from a Bath and Body Works or something, and you'll just be like, oh no, this is,
Yeah, I'm excited to try them.
Yeah, so.
Yeah. Well, thank you for being here today.
You're welcome. Thank you.
You're involved in a lot of different projects.
Thanks for your
appreciate
interest.
you taking the time out. Yeah.
Thank you.
So if you want more information about Heather Carmona and purealternatives.net and No Spray Birmingham, if you're interested in classes or personal consulting, you can email Heather through her website at purealternatives.net. Thanks so much for joining us at Elizabeth's Kind Cafe.